A decades-old serial murder case in Cleveland may get some new life soon. For years, the so-called torso murders have gone unsolved, and most of the victims have been unidentified. But as Matt Rascone reports, the Cuyahoga County Medical Examiner is working to change that.
They're among the most gruesome murders in Cleveland history. At least a dozen victims decapitated and dumped in an area of the city then known as Kingsbury Run.
That's way out of, off the charts. That's somebody, you want to start looking for an individual who's doing this.
But 90 years later, the suspect dubbed the torso killer and the mad butcher of Kingsbury Run is a mystery.
Never caught, never identified.
And 10 of his known victims have also never been identified. What's left of their bodies, buried in an unmarked grave somewhere here in Potter's Field.
There's something, I think, just fundamental in human nature that, you kind of want to know who the person was who died.
Dr. Thomas Gilson is the medical examiner in Cuyahoga County, now working with the nonprofit, the DNA Doe Project, to do just that.
The number of hurdles to get over where something potentially might go wrong is not a trivial number.
The challenges of identifying the torso murder victims begins with finding their grave sites and digging up their bodies.
It's one of the things we say in forensics, you never know what an exhumation is going to look like until you actually do it.
The hope is they're preserved enough to collect a specimen and recover some DNA, but that's only part of it.
It's not like I do DNA and I suddenly get a name. That's not going to work.
That's where genetic genealogy comes in. The DNA Doe Project creates a profile for a victim using DNA tests and connecting them to relatives to find out who they are.
Giving a name to, people who were just buried in an unmarked grave, that's meaningful to me.
And Gilson is hopeful if they can identify some victims, it may also lead his team to finally crack the case of the notorious torso killer.
Yeah, it'd be very nice to kind of put some closure on it.
Dr. Gilson told me they hope to locate and begin exhuming the grave of at least one victim before the ground freezes this winter. Christy, there's no timeline on if or when they may learn an identity.
Absolutely fascinating. All right, Matt Rascone, thank you.